Next, I'd like to hand over to Daniel Carey-Dawes, who's going to talk to us a bit about CPRE's work on fracking.
Great, thank you. Well, it's a great pleasure to be here today to talk about CPRE's work on fracking and the efforts that we as CPRE and some other campaigners around this table and many beyond have been working on in relation to fracking and to stand up for our countryside. It feels sometimes like we've been campaigning on fracking forever. It certainly feels like we're in a bit of a cycle, the fracking industry continually repeating the same tired old arguments again and again. Now, you can say many things about the fracking industry, but I think one thing that you certainly can't deny is that they are persistent. Well, as countryside campaigners at CPRE, we're also known for our persistence. Working with 38 Degrees and many colleagues around this table, we organised a petition against plans to fast-track fracking through the planning system, a decision that would have locked local communities out of decision-making through the planning process. Over 300,000 people signed that petition. When the industry lobbied for relaxing earthquake regulations, CPRE commissioned polling. We found that less than a quarter of people supported weakening earthquake regulations. Twice as many supported the regulations as they stand. And crucially, only 13% of the respondents felt that the government was listening to them on the issue of fracking. Now, at the heart of this debate on fracking are two core issues. Firstly, communities' right to decide, and secondly, the climate emergency. Now, it's these two issues coming together that have united communities across party lines. As way of example, this time last year, I was speaking at the Conservative Party conference where a number of their backbenchers have been vocal in opposing fracking. Whatever the party affiliation, whether you live in Surrey, Lancashire or Yorkshire, communities have been coming together to fight against the industrialisation of the countryside. And it's only right that communities that are being asked to host fracking pads, with all the noise, dust and disruption and loss of tranquility that will lead to, should be given a say on whether fracking goes ahead or not. It's now 16 months since the government announced that it would railroad fracking through the planning system. A public consultation came and went. There were two fiery Westminster Hall debates with a number of backbench Tory MPs joining the rebellion. But still, to this day, the government has left communities in limbo with no final decision on whether the fast-track proposals should actually go ahead or not. In that 16 months, our collective awareness of the climate emergency has been transformed by the latest available data from the IPCC and the CCC, the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, and our own Committee on Climate Change. It was always a stretch of the imagination to think that somehow fracking could be compatible with tackling climate change. But now I think it's inconceivable how fracking could ever possibly replace domestic gas in the way that the fracking industry claims. The reality, as we all know, is that we need to be coming off gas, not finding new sources of it. So, what comes next? Well, the fracking industry has been on the back foot now for some months. They've failed to articulate how it's compatible with tackling the climate emergency. Every time they frack, they cause earthquakes, which seem to get just progressively bigger. Even Natasha Engel, former Labour MP turned shale gas commissioner, resigned her post as it became obvious it was a lost cause. So with one final heave, it should be possible to put this issue to bed. So let's make 2020 the year that happens.